Want to achieve network marketing success? Then you're in the right company. Hello, and welcome to Leave Nothing to Chance, hosted by networking marketing giant, John Solleder. Learn everything you need to know about the network marketing space from somebody who's actually done it. Join us every week for front row seats as we feature some of the finest and most successful personalities in network marketing. Leave nothing to chance. Join us now.
Well, hey, this is going to be a lot of fun. And this is the very first Leaving Nothing to Chance show for 2023, where we are pre-recording it like we do most of the shows. But this is actually the first show for 2023. So I guess Happy New Year to both Elaine and Karen and all of you listening. First of many shows. We have a lot of stuff coming up, including in April, the recognition of me being 40 years full-time in the network marketing industry. Not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people might want to say that, but it'll be 40 years. So we're figuring out how to celebrate that. I had lunch with an industry icon yesterday, Larry Thompson, and we were discussing that, how he celebrated his 50th a few years ago that I was part of, and he had some good suggestions. But anyway, we'll get to all of that in the new year. But listen, I got two really exciting guests, so I want to get into their stories. First of all, my friend for almost 30 years, Karen Ford in beautiful Virginia. Hopefully it's beautiful today, Karen. Welcome.
It is, yes.
And a new friend, Elaine Lynas up in London, Ontario. Elaine, good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thank you. Thank you.
So let's get into it. I have a few questions for you. Elaine, let's start with you. How long have you been in the industry?
Well, I'm kind of chuckling at you saying 40 and somebody else being more. I am 44 years in. So yeah, it's kind of like 18 when I went somewhere for dinner one night and I had a whiteboard sprung on me, and that's how I discovered this crazy industry.
The whiteboard was during dinner?
No, it was after dinner. We were invited for dinner and then had the whiteboard come out. So yeah. That's how I discovered it.
A lot of people were introduced to the business that way.
Yes, they were.
And Karen, how long for you now?
You know, I started in 1990, so I'm hanging with you guys. I've been here a long time.
Wow. Yeah. And so, that's a long time. So you're both veterans, and you both have seen a lot of change, obviously, in the industry. I mean, I know some of the changes that I've seen, but Karen, I'm looking at you. So let's just start with you. What are the changes that you've seen going back 1990 to now 2023?
Actually, you know what, John? Completely different. Because the very first time I was even introduced, nobody in my family had ever been in network marketing. I was always told, you don't do that. That's like a scam. And so I never even looked at network marketing, but I found myself in 1990, divorced, had two beautiful children, and was working two jobs. And truly, I was looking for something to change my life, because at that moment, it wasn't so pretty. And I overheard a conversation where someone was meeting someone in a restaurant. And that's how I knew network marketing to be. You meet up with people, you meet in meetings, you meet in restaurants, you meet, wherever you could. And then things started to change, but I did that for many, many years until the last couple. And now everything is online. And the truth, I didn't know how to do a Zoom. I didn't know how to go and communicate with people. Kind of, I think, Elaine, you had said earlier, I didn't know how to not meet face-to-face, belly-to-belly, because John, you're the one that taught me this industry. And so I did what you did. And so it's been completely different, learning how you can manage your time, and you can do it at home any time of the day. Just put a little lipstick on and you're in a meeting. So it's been great. I love how we are now. I'll be honest, I do miss what we used to do, meeting up, in restaurants and meeting rooms, because you got to build relationships at a different level. But having the Zooms and being online all the time, live Facebook, Instagram, it's been, it helps you in any situation to be able to broaden how you do business and I love it. I've had great success during that time, so I can't say that it's good or bad, but I do know I've made more money since I've been doing it on Zoom, so it's a good thing.
Great. And Elaine, additional changes that you've seen now and since starting 44 years ago?
You know, oh, there's so many changes. It's hard to pick just a couple. But something, I was kind of thinking about, just even in the way business is done. I mean, of course, 44 years ago, we're talking fax machines, and we're talking a lot of different things that we don't use now to build our businesses. Back then, gosh, I remember, the nights trying to get orders in, and you're taking all the orders over the phone, and I'm handwriting how many of this and how many of that and how many of this. And then it was my turn to call it up to the next person, like it was like truly like the chain phone call going up the line to put all the orders in. And then not only that, going and having to drive to pick up product. And I would drive back then from London to Bowmanville, Ontario. And my time for product pickup was 5 o'clock on a Friday. And so you've got all that traffic on the highway and to go, and then I would pay for all that product, bring it back, disperse it to the different people coming to pick up. And you were relying on people that their checks were good, all of this kind of thing. And yet we built and we drove and we did. And now today, I think back to those times and I think, my gosh, this is simple because you just order direct from the company. I'm not worried whether your credit card clears or not. Do you know what I mean? So that is one big, huge change that I see. I do miss a lot of the belly to belly. We would do a lot of in-home things, in-home get-togethers, outside of overviews and stuff like that. But like Karen too, having to pivot and learn new ways, because when you love this industry and you want to continue, you have to find new ways. You try to stay old school and you run out of people because everybody else, there's a whole new generation being brought up online and that's all they know. I try to get my grandkids to answer the phone. It's like, text me. I'm like, so there's a lot of big changes in the world today. And I just really believe that if we don't pivot, we come up against a lot of brick walls.
I even remember, and both of you do too, when we used to have to take an application, take the person's check, stick it in an envelope, address it to the company, mail it, hope that it got processed, hope that it didn't get lost in the mail. I mean, and now it's like, you pick up your phone, ding, 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 the person's in. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about that from this standpoint. Some of the best experiences and also the biggest hurdles that you've had to overcome, in your life, okay, and in your business, because our business is a microcosm of our lives. Obviously, we do network marketing; it's part of how we pay the bills and support our families. But life is going on at the same time. So, Elaine, I'm looking at you still. So, why don't you continue with that question?
Sure. Some of the hurdles. It's interesting because back in the day when I saw this industry, a lot of it didn't make sense to me. I was a 9-to-5 girl. I knew that if I worked Monday to Friday, I got paid Friday night or Saturday. I got my check. So learning how network marketing worked and that you did work and it took a while, for those checks to come. That was interesting to me. It was kind of foreign. I wasn't that forward vision person. So that's a learned thing that I had to overcome. And it's funny because people might say to me these days, well, you've been doing this for 44 years. It's easy. You know how. But I had to start somewhere and we all have to start somewhere. So one of my biggest hurdles, and I share this often and I laugh when I think about it because I can go right to that place. And I was terrified, absolutely terrified to talk to anybody. And so again, I'm kind of thankful it was back. Well, I guess some of the ways I did it were a bit archaic, but so let's imagine, John, that you were my customer and I would over the phone, I knew what you wanted. I'd place your order. I'd get you to leave a check in the mailbox. I'd go get the check. I'd come back. I'd do all the things. I'd get the product, make sure you weren't home. Then I would go and put the product on your doorstep, call you, let you know it was there, go back and get a check. It was all this legwork that I did because I was afraid to talk to people, but somebody shared with me what was possible, and that I'd be able to give my kids other things, and that if I did these things over and over, it would get easier. And so I fast forward to even back 2 years ago, before the world changed, where, having been on stage in front of thousands and training and coaching and mentoring, and I look at all of that, and it's through growing and through failing forward and hurdles, like you say, right? Having to overcome those. So that's been a big thing. I go back and I share that with people that I am sharing the business with, especially if they've never done something and they're fearful, because I want to be transparent and let them know that, hey, we all have hurdles. It's okay. Just work your way through it, and I'll walk with you while you go. That, to me, that's been one of the biggest hurdles, I think, for me, outside of, I would say, again, every once in a while, that little thing of belief in yourself crops up, right? So you see other people doing something and you think, oh my gosh, I don't do it like that. I need to get better. I'm not as good as. And so constantly checking yourself and going, hey, I am good enough. I'll attract the right people to my tribe. And, again, I'm working with some new mentors this year, new coaches for myself personally. And boy, I tell you, they're stretching and growing me, but I'm ready for it.
Right. Great answer. Karen?
Yeah. And you know what? I agree. Often, well, I was just thinking after Elaine, before you started there, we didn't even have Facebook when we started, remember? There was no such thing as Facebook, so we couldn't communicate the way that we do today. But it has been a learning curve for me. Also, we didn't have unlimited calling. I remember times at the very beginning, I took all my check to pay my phone bill because I wasn't disciplined, or I just wanted to talk to people. I wanted to share what had happened for a single mom. So it's all been a learning curve from when I started, and you guys as well. But, I've learned how to grow. I learned from John. I can't ever edify him enough, because he is the reason that I have been successful. I remember, John, when you once said, Karen, you have the eye of a tiger. Would you be willing to do something if I told you it would work? And I said, yes. And you said, but I mean, you have to do everything I tell you. At first, I'll be honest, Elaine, I'm like, he is a brat, I'm not going to do everything he tells me to do. But he was young, and he had had great success, not just in the industry, but in, mom and pop businesses and, investment. So I wanted to listen. But I remember, and guys, I know you'll remember this, everybody's heard it that's been in the industry for a while. But, he'd always talked about the 10 penny rule. Remember that, John?
Mm-hmm.
And he sent me out one day and said, Karen, I want you to go out tomorrow. And mind you, I had 2 kids, had to get them to school, had to feed them. I had to get to work on time. But he said, before you go to work, I want you to put 10 pennies in your pocket. And I want you to talk to 10 people before you go to work. And I'm sitting there going, it's impossible. But then I kept going back saying, but I told him I would do whatever it took. Mm. And the first day I did 8. And I thought I had done really well. Well, that evening I had to call him. He didn't call me. I had to call him. I happened to be accountable. And he said, so how many people did you talk to today? I said, 8. He said, you're a little short. And I'm like, oh, but 8 is so big. I got 2 kids to school. I fed 2 kids. I got to work. And he said, well, tomorrow I need you to put those 2 pennies in your pocket with your other 10. I panicked, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I can really do this. But he was so insistent that I grow in this industry that I got up the next morning, got the kids all out of the house, and I left earlier than normal to go to work so that I could fulfill what I had to do in order to be successful. At that time, I wasn't making much money. I had, like I said, 2 jobs. But the industry has changed my life, not just in social media, not just being able to approach people differently. Because when we become teachable, and we listen to people who have done better than we have or longer than we have, do you know what? I woke up and made a decision. I'm going to do whatever he tells me to do. And I did. At that time, I was making $1,500 a month, just doing it very part-time. And within 90 days, I was making a six-figure income. That is why I always go to John for many, many, many reasons in our industry, because he's knowledgeable, he's disciplined, he knows how to have success, and he knows how to help people to have success. Because, we all live a life, we have one, and we can determine what we want to do in order to be successful. And I chose early on to follow people like John, who has made such an impact in my life. And, I will continue. And you know what, Elaine, I've known you since, I don't even remember how long, a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Yes. And, I've watched you not working in the same companies, but I've watched you on social media. Thank goodness for the transition of going from room to room or house to house, but then getting to watch online and watching and growing with you and Raylene as well. And I just love how the industry has turned around so that it leaves nothing to chance. We can all have the success that we're looking for. When we find the right people to follow and do whatever it takes, then the results are there. And I love it.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for a selfless plug then, because Karen just plugged it twice. But you can read about the 10 penny principle in Moving Up 2020, one of the books that I wrote that came out in 2020, Elaine, thinking 2020 was going to be this amazing year for the world. And it certainly was, but not quite how I intended it to be. But you can read about that. And you can also read about Karen Ford's story in here, by the way, as well as other people. And then Karen just said, well, I'm having trouble with my camera today. I don't know why. Anyway, leave nothing to chance. Now, the podcast show is leaving, okay, believe it or not, a bank for some reason owned the podcast rights to Leave Nothing to Chance. So Leaving Nothing to Chance is our podcast, but Leave Nothing to Chance is another book that I wrote, and it has a lot of principles in it again. Got Karen Ford's story in it again. It's got a lot of other people's stories in it as well. And, in there are a lot of these basic concepts that I did teach Karen some 30 years ago. Here she is all these years later, super successful in a number of companies. And let me just say this, how valuable that 10 penny principle is if you've never heard it. I know you've heard it, Elaine, but for our other listeners, how valuable is it? It goes back to Bobby DePue and Jim Rohn in the 1960s. So I didn't create it. Okay, I was taught it by my mentors. I used it to build 5 organizations, and I've always been at the top rank in those 5 organizations and, had a lot of success. Okay. So it's not about me. It's about you. If you're listening, the 10 penny principle, you can do it, because everything these ladies know how to do, everything I know how to do, everything some of the other people that we've interviewed this past couple of years know how to do, is stuff that you can go out and do for your business. And that's why you listen to podcasts, is to gain morsels of things that you can apply to your business. So let's go on to the next question. Elaine, let's start with you. Why MLM now? And let me just kind of set this up for you. We're living in interesting times. Everyone listening knows that. Certainly economically, we're living in, a crazy time right now. We're coming on the back end of COVID. Who knows what will or won't happen with that long term, et cetera, et cetera. So the world's changed. But let's go back before COVID. Let's go back 2019, let's say. And you have a mom living down the street. Mom's about 60. She has a daughter about 25. And mom has been, a senior level manager, let's say, in a business, done well, saved her money, starting to look at, hey, getting to the end of the road business wise, maybe it's time to retire, maybe it's time to chase the grandkids, or, do whatever it is that she wants to do with her life without work in it. And the 25-year-old went to college, did everything right, worked hard, got good grades, graduated, started her life, started in business, went out, got a good job. Everything was going terrific. And then all of a sudden, we know what happened in about February 2020. And here we are. Now, that mom and daughter had a jaded view of what we do. They knew we existed, right? They had a friend that was, knocked on their door about something at some point, and maybe they even bought the product, but they said, hey, business is not for me. I've got an education, or I've got a career. And, that's something that people do, part-time. Okay, fair enough. Well, now the world's changed. And now that mom says to her daughter, hey, we're kind of struggling a little bit. Went to the food store yesterday, and 2 bags of groceries now cost what 4 did a year ago. Gasoline costs, this. Everything else is up in price. Elaine down the street, she's still doing one of those network marketing things, and she's doing well. She gets to work from home, and I saw her out yesterday, walking her dog at 10:30 in the morning, and I was going to and from work and blah 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 and rushing and fighting the clock. You know what? Let's walk down the street, knock on her door, and say, Elaine, here we are, 2023. Why should we join an MLM company today?
Wow. Well, first of all, the interesting thing that I will say in this question about the mother-daughter is that I'm actually building the business right now with my daughter. We share a position and we are working together. So I'm kind of a little over that 60 and she's a little over that 25. So just kind of interesting how you put that. But why now? Oh my goodness. My immediate response is why not now? Because we don't know what's around the next corner. And people are seeing that struggle, right? People are having to find 2 and 3 part-time jobs, which is taking them away from home more, which is making relationships tougher in the house, right? Because you're just not there because you're out trying to make ends meet. And what I find in sharing with people today, especially with doing things online, that the daughter, let's talk about her. She's online. She's on every platform on social media. And sure as shooting her, she's seeing her friends that are all doing something, whether they call it affiliate marketing or here's my link, and they don't refer to the word network marketing or whatever. Everybody is attaching an affiliate program to everything, right? So, I mean, we've even got some wellness companies where you can go for massage and this, that, and the other. But I mean, if you give an affiliate link, you're getting rewards for doing it, right? There's different things. So today's languaging has changed so much that I know back in the day, there was a stigma about this, that, or the other, but people are more aware, I believe, of what's going on out there. They're seeing so much of their friends doing things on social media and being able to pay for their hydro bill, being able to pay for their groceries. And that's what they're commenting. They're not putting the comments up anymore about here's my Lamborghini and here's me outside of a fake house. This is reality where people are looking for that extra 500, that extra 1,000 to make it through. And so where I go is, if I can help you make the 500, then can you believe for the next? Then can you believe for the next? And it's doing it in baby steps. And I believe, like, just as you were talking, or Karen, you were saying how John said to you, if you do what I say, if you follow these simple steps. And again, when you get a moment to share with somebody that there's a system and you follow the system, and I'm just going to talk social media because that's where my business all is right now, is up in social media, up in stories on Instagram and Facebook. And we won't talk TikTok because I'm a disaster over there. And I'm like this grandma trying to figure it out. But I talk to so many people that, when I say, where did you buy that? Oh, I got it on TikTok. I found it on TikTok. TikTok made me buy it. And I'm like, okay, this is where people are gravitating. And it's almost becoming normal through the younger crowd, the 25-year-olds. They're just trying to figure out what it is that they want to attach themselves to. And not only is it not always a product, it's about sharing what you do, the fun. Because let's face it, people have, like you said, the world has changed and we've not been outside, but people miss a lot of things. They miss the relationships. They miss doing some fun things together, even if it is on a Zoom, right? Or they miss a bunch of people getting together to go do something, a hike or whatever. But when you share with them the things that you have to offer, the fun, the this, the that, the growth that they can have, will teach you how to do things. They don't feel alone. And I think today people feel alone in so many things that if they know somebody's got their hand, somebody's going to guide them, let's do it together. Give them a hand up, not a hand out. There's a huge difference there.
Mhm.
That they're open to taking a look. They're open to sitting down and listening, right? And now it's in our face everywhere. No matter where we go, I can jump off of here and go to Facebook or Instagram, and there's stuff being promoted everywhere, right? You're trying to decide what do I buy? Far different from that whiteboard, and you're clueless, and all of a sudden it's like, what is this? And this is you and you will do kind of deal. It's just so different. So and for me, deciding to partner with my daughter, I will tell you, I'm focused on retirement and working with people that are looking to create retirement income for them, because that's the stage of life I'm at and they're at. And she brings the fun to the party because she's got the young moms, all that type of thing. Right. And so when we melded it together, it keeps me going every day because I've got the life of the party beside me all the time. So I think it's really listening to what people are looking for and what they're needing. And it's just being transparent with them. And I remember back in the day, I don't know that I did it. And if I did, gosh, I hope I didn't. But people would brag on all the great things, right? And you can have all the wealth in the world and everything. And now it's about being real. Life is different. People want real, and they can see through, right? They can listen to you and go, yeah, nope, they're full of it, right? And then they're gone. So I just speak from the heart. That's me.
Love it. Love it. Well, I saw a statistic this morning. There's $13.5 trillion out of pension plans that have been lost over these last, 2-3 years. So when you think about exactly what you just said about retirement, there's so many people who, they were almost to the end of the road. They were starting to think, play more golf, chase the grandkids, find a new fishing hole. And all of a sudden it's like, no, now I got to keep working. And they're looking for the plan B, the proverbial plan B that we can provide. So Karen, same question, the 60-year-old mom, the 25-year-old daughter, what do you tell them?
I look at how the world is today, and had we not had our industry, I look at so many of my friends who had to close their store, had to close their restaurant, had lost their job because the job weren't there anymore. And I look at our industry now and know without any doubt, like I heard you talk about earlier, Elaine, it doesn't matter what you say. I know what I know, and I can't unsee what I saw with this industry. And because of where we were and where we are today, this industry has created millions of dollars for my family. It's paid off millions of dollars of debt. And I have been able, being in this industry, to live debt free, to save, to invest. I couldn't do that. And if I can teach my granddaughter, she sees what I do. She literally answers the phone sometime and says, my Nana is on a Zoom. Can you call her back? She's learning the skills of creating the lifestyle that she wants. And she sees her Nana out there working and knowing that it can happen because she benefits very greatly from what I do. And so, it's, I'm a lifetime networker, and I as well was hoping to retire. And I say now in the next 2.5 years, I want to retire, not to quit the industry, but to work with relaxed intensity. Because my job, our job as influence in the industry is to be able to change people's lives and show them a better way to live debt free, to have the things, because life as we used to know it isn't here. But the industry, you can still work as hard as you want, as many days as you want, as many hours as you want. And it's entirely up to us. And now our children are seeing that. And I pray every day, Lord, let her learn all the skills, because now she can see what happens when you're dedicated to what you believe. And it's just life-changing for our family and everyone.
So let me ask this, Karen. What are the best strategies now getting new people started today with all the technology? What's the best way to, get them started so that they see what you saw many years ago, some
Yep.
money on the table,
Yep.
fairly quickly, so that they stick around and learn the next step in terms of skill development. What are those strategies?
I learned from them a lot of times now, John, honestly. And but having a system, a proven system, just like you did, that part has never changed. When there is a system in place, you teach them the daily method of operation that happens for their success. And that was at the beginning, and it's still today. And I'm sure you both will agree with me. It's having the system to follow so that you don't get off track. Do I know everything? I don't know a lot about social media, but you know what? I know people who do. Just like you guys, I'm great at a lot, but there's some things that I'm not great, but I know how to reach out. I know how to find the right people to help do the things that I can't do. You know what? Nobody knows everything, but we all know somebody who we can learn from and who we can teach. And just doing that daily method of operation and following a proven system will take you to the same place that you, John and Elaine, you guys have had tremendous success. And it's all because we followed a proven system and we help people to feel empowered. I think so many times in real jobs, even in the industry, people don't help people to feel important. Everybody needs to know that they are so important to our business, because you know what? As industry leaders, we can't have a change in our life if we don't love people, if we don't help people, if we don't edify people. We can never have the success that all three of us have had we not just been pouring into people, teaching them the right way. And we all learn it from each other. And I'm grateful for both of you. I've learned a lot from both of you down through the years, and I know I will continue to do that as well.
Great. And Elaine, same question. Let's talk about getting new folks started, because we got a lot of, believe it or not, we have a lot of followers that are fairly new to the industry. I have a young audience. I got an old audience and I got a young audience. The young audience are 20s and so that are listening, and they're often wondering, what do we know that they need to know in terms of those strategies to get them started and for them to get people started, more importantly, in their businesses?
Yeah, Karen, I mean, you touched on a lot of stuff when it comes to the systems, and I truly believe that, right? That is one of the most important things. Words have changed, right? It used to be your getting started training, and now it's called onboarding, right? So again, you're learning the new language of what it's called, but it's getting people started correctly and quickly is a couple of key things. So my big thing is when I've got somebody that's coming on board, I want to know why they're doing this. What is their reason behind this? Is it to make some extra money? Do they want time at home? When I know what that looks like, and when I know what their life on the daily looks like, they work 3 jobs already. Maybe they're a single parent, whatever it might be. They've got a child with special needs. Like if I know those things, I can help them set goals that would be more realistic to them, right? So, I mean, if I've got somebody who's got like, I don't know, 30 minutes a day, and that's to breathe, she's got everything else going on. It's hard to say, well, in that 30 minutes, you need to just hammer this out. And I really believe that, I know it can go both ways, but I really believe that you are able to build this business in the nooks and crannies. If you are on the bus going to work, you can be because you're using your phone. So you can be doing your reach outs and whatnot on your phone. I don't want to say while your kids are playing on the swings and you're not paying attention. So no, I don't mean that. But there are times that you can fit it into your day, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, to respond to people, to fire out some messages, right? And as Karen said, daily method of operation. We do a lot of that. Even where we'll do things like a power hour, where it's like, hey, come work with me online. And for an hour, we're going to work on social media. We're going to contact people. We're going to reach out. We're going to make new friends, right? I mean, remember we used to go get business cards and we would come home and we'd have a new person to talk to. So, we teach a lot of that. Something else that I find really important is when we have that new person is I want to jump on a Zoom or a FaceTime with them because I want to see them. I want them to see that I'm real. I might have dogs barking in the background, right? It's not very professional what might be happening in my home or in the backyard at the moment. but I want them to see the real life that I live, and that I'm not just somebody who puts great quotes on social media, right? To me, that's important, to get to know their family, because in my world and how I've always done it, it's like I'm kind of like the glue pot. I go when I build a relationship with everybody. I will go to that newest person that joined the team and reach out and say, hi, I want to welcome you. I want them to know that they're seen and that they're valued, right? And so that they can reach out to other people. So to me, that's one of the biggest things, is finding out why they're building. Their why will change over time, right? We all know the why will make you cry, but there's different layers to that onion. And it will get bigger as time goes by. Right now, it could just be able to get food in the house, and that's okay. And then again, making sure that, as you said, John, and I think I'm going to work with that too on that. I've heard of that 10 penny system, but just even how you worded it and what Karen said, and I'll go back and listen to this too. But it's like, if you do what I say, then this is going to happen, right? And helping them stay on task, because we all get sidetracked, right? Giving them a task of being on social media for 10 minutes and doing this, we all end up in scroll hole, and off we go. And the next thing you know, dinner's burned, right? So I think it's just truly all about finding what that person's reason is, finding their heart, hearing what they're not saying, right? You can pick up on that too, and helping build it step by step with them. That's kind of what I've done over the years.
One of the things that I get asked all the time after these shows is about lists. Do we still work lists? Because some of the new people, they hear that we worked lists, and they're like, well, what's a list? Well, we all know what a list is, but some of the new people, they're wondering, do you still work lists, Elaine?
Do I still work lists?
Yeah. I got a feeling we got the list. There we go.
There's my list.
Hold that up again. I want all the 25 and under people to see. This is a written out list.
It's cursive. They might not be able to read that.
That's okay.
I gotta read it.
There you go. And how many people roughly are on that list?
Oh, I probably could never get through my list. And here's why I say that, John. There's probably about 500 that I have written down here. And yes, they're family, they could be friends. And I just never seem to get to them, because as I have a list, I'm always adding more to the list. And on social media, you get followers and you get all of these things, and people comment. Well, somebody who comments on my post that I don't know who you are. I mean, somehow magically I have almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I don't know who they are. But when somebody comments that I've either not heard from for a long time, forgot about, they just got added to my list. So now you incorporate stories and Instagram and Facebook, and you can actually see all the people that stopped by and watched your story. Well, now people want to see people eat. I don't understand why. I put up a video yesterday, the other day, of my granddaughter and I. We went out to this crazy hot dog thing, 232 viewers. And so I'm looking at all these people. There must have been 140 people that I have not talked to in years. Guess what? I now have 140 new leads. Remember back in the day, we bought leads? The world is right there. It's right there. So I don't rely on this. The older I get, I know that I can forget a name. And I have Post-it notes, but I put them down in here because then I can go back to it. Where did I find them? What did they comment on? And that way I can follow through. That's Beautiful. What I do.
Beautiful. It's funny. Many, 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 many moons ago, about 40 years ago, I read a book by a guy named Joe Girard, who was not too far from you there in Detroit. He was a top car salesman in the world. And he's still, I think he's still in the Guinness Book of World Records, but he wrote a book called How to Sell Anything to Anybody, I think was the title. And if I had the title wrong, I apologize, but you can Google him. But he had in there the law of 250, which I started to teach in network marketing way back in like 1983. Because the law of 250 was real simple. What he figured out was everybody knew 250 people, right? And how he attained that information is he went out to people in the wedding business and the funeral business, and didn't matter the faith of the person get married or that passed away. And about they all these people in that business said it's about 250 people that attend either event, right? So when I look at your list of 500, it just proved the point Okay, kind of touched the nerve on my end where it's like, yeah, so you treat one person well that joins your business, you help them, you coach them, you do your three-way calls or your Zoom calls or whatever it is that you do to support them. Mm-hmm. They can lead you to 250 people. So whoever your sponsor is in your current business, you have 500 people. You, one person, have 500 people. That's not even counting what your daughter has, right? Because that's just your list.
That's right.
Yeah. So, wow, just folks, listen. These leaders know how to build businesses and create monetization of network marketing businesses. You just learned an incredibly valuable lesson. If you heard nothing else said today, take note on what Elaine just shared there. Karen, same question. You still working lists?
I still work lists, yes. And some of them I still have chicken lists, and I've been in this industry for a long time. But like Elaine said, you communicate, and I'm going to refer back to the power hour. Those are so incredible, Elaine, because you actually help people maybe from your list that don't know how. It helps them to be accountable, just like John did for me. It helps them to be accountable. And John, I don't know if you do power hours, but that is something that is so impactful to help people know what to do. It's mind-boggling, isn't it, Elaine, at how many people you see just sitting there hustling, getting their list, creating a new list by going and posting on people's social media. I'm in love, honestly. I am in love with, the list that we have. Like I said, I still have chicken lists, and people's like, are you serious? You still have a chicken? Heck yes, I have a chicken list. But now the more that we know, we're able to work those lists even more. And Elaine, as you said, it's, once we know what people want from the business, we can add to our list, but we can help more people to have the success by simply knowing why they're here. Why did they say yes to us? And you know what? I'll say this too. Not everybody is meant for this industry, just like not everybody is meant to do another kind of job. Elaine, I know your husband is a builder. I couldn't go build something because it doesn't interest me. But to build a team of people and continue to add more people all the time, you know what? Our list is endless, because every day when you're on social media, definitely, even when working through the power hours that we do, there's new people every day that you can add. So yes, I work the list, and I still have chicken list, and I continue to add people to my list every day. Our job is guaranteed.
Yep.
And you never know what I've found through the years, and I'm sure you both have found the same thing. You just don't know who somebody knows. I built an organization in Toronto starting in 1980. What year was that? 80, something like that. With a company, and the one of the top guys that I recruited, I met through a kid who was driving a coffee truck. That we were in a building in Concord, Ontario, and Elaine knows where that is. And kid comes in, one day and says, "Hey, I'm going to bring the coffee truck here every day," because they were still doing building in the area. So I start telling this guy what we do, and he says, "Hey, my mom might be interested." He was 19. My mom might be interested. Happened to have been a weight loss product, and lo and behold, his mom's best friend led me to my best distributor in Ontario, who's still a friend. He's retired now in the industry, but he built a massive organization all over the world. Well, Ralph wasn't on my list. Ralph was just somebody that I met, but he got on my list, to Elaine's point, immediately. Now, there was no social media then.
Yeah.
We actually had to talk to people. Remember, we actually had to meet people and talk. Wow, incredible. So in closing, ladies, let me just go back to both of you for closing thoughts. Elaine, let's start with you.
It was interesting. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, how do you just keep going? How do you keep doing, And I guess I never really look at it like it's work. It is work. It is not just a thing that happens. It is work. But doing it consistently every day, a little bit, sometimes a little bit more. And what this industry has afforded for myself and my family. You know, we were never people who had lots of money and couldn't go on trips. So if there was a trip to be won, then we won it, because that's how we got to go places, you know? So it's when I take a look at what this industry can do for people. And one of the biggest things that warms my heart is when I see somebody achieve something. They send me a message saying, I can't believe it, I was able to pay my bills and we went out for dinner. That to me makes my work that I did for however long with that person worth everything. I know I get compensated, and maybe it's my big heart. I don't know. I've just never been one of those networkers that crack a whip. I mean, if you tell me though that you've got a big goal and you got to knuckle down and do it, and you're out doing whatever, well, then that's different. I'm going to call you on what you said you wanted. Right. But this is something that I work hard at. And, I know Karen's watched me over the years, and I will stay up until the wee hours of the morning to help somebody cross that goal that they're trying to get off, that they're trying to get done. I will stay up with you. But then I also want to go and hang out with you and enjoy fun and get to know your families as well. So I don't know. I would just tell somebody, if you're looking for something, you're frustrated, you're challenged, you just know that you're supposed to do something more with your life, but you don't know how and you don't have the resources, take a look at this industry. Find something that tugs at your heartstrings, that makes sense. Find your tribe is what we talk about. Find where you fit, because there's somewhere for everybody. And it might not be the first place you land, right? If you're getting your feet wet, you may have to get them wet a little until you learn how to swim, and then things change. So I would just encourage people, don't slough it off. There's a whole lot of things in your world that can change just by going, okay, all right, ask yourself, what would change?
Great.
And you know what, Elaine, so many times it's about their belief, not ours, because you can't shake us away from what we do, because we all know what can happen. But I think when people see and feel the love and the passion, and hear people's stories, even like my own, a single mom with 2 kids, where are you going to go and earn millions of dollars? Or where are you, how are you going to have that quality time with your kids? Mm-hmm. Working 9 to 5 and then doing a part-time job just to make ends meet. It's impossible. Being single, I had to juggle. And I know there's a lot of single moms out there that are still looking for an opportunity to live a life of freedom. My passion and my belief, people say it all the time, and I heard this yesterday as well. They say, Karen, well, how long are you going to do that? I said, until. Mm-hmm. Until. So, sorry. But I can't help but always out there looking for someone that I can show an opportunity that can change their life. I know it would change their life. It's changed mine. It's changed you guys. So what would I say to someone? Never lose faith in your future, because this is a better way of life, and I will work it until, and we're here to help you to work it until as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, those are great thoughts. And this has been a privilege and a pleasure to speak with both of you remarkable leaders this morning. And, that's what our industry is about. So 2023, it's going to be a great year if we make it a great year, right? There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be things economically, politically. Who knows what's going to happen, right? When we think back to 2022, some of the crazy things that happened, who knows what's going to happen? But here's what I do know. If you look at your business, okay, as macro, not micro, you'll succeed. Your business is important, and the financial fortress that you're attempting to build around your family. That's what it's about. All these other things are going to be distractions that we have no control over. What do we have control over is what we do. What we think about, what we read, what we listen to, what we put in our mouths on a daily basis, those are the things that we have control of. So, Karen, Elaine, I wish you both nothing but the best in 2023 and beyond. It's been a great conversation, and good luck this year.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Leave Nothing to Chance. If you want to know more about what it takes to succeed in the network marketing space, join us again next week for another amazing episode. For additional resources and to connect with John Solleder, visit leavingnothingtochance.com. Don't forget to leave a review, and we'll see you next time.